Just started off as an idea. You know, I used to get guys up at 6 o'clock in the morning to come up here to the Southside YMCA and just work out. You know, it's just something I had a passion for. So, you know, I think roughly around like 2008 is like when the birth of Phlite Skool kind of came about. What I really focus on is the footwork. I just feel like, you know, the best players, you know, from Michael Jordan to Kobe Bryant, post guys like Kevin Garnett. It's just something unique about those guys because their footwork is just so in order. And I just feel like any player who lacks that footwork is not going to last in the game a long time. So, I mean, that's really what our foundation is. I think creating angles, seeing the game from a symmetry standpoint also is another value to being in our program. I feel like the number of reps you get, the better off offensive player you'll be. You know, so at the end of the day, you know, if you're not getting the reps, you can't produce on the floor. So you got to get your reps. And I think this is the time in the off season where players get better at their skill level. You know, it really does depend on who's working with them, who's teaching them the right fundamentals. I believe, you know, even the most athletic players, eventually they're going to have to play on the floor. And so that's what I strive for excellence. You know, I teach guys how to play on the floor even with athletic ability. Lead with that first step. Boom. Here. Boom. Protect. Layup. Remember, this is that third-tier defense. That's the guy that's coming over to take the charge. Right? You beat him, help is here. So now that guy's coming over to take the charge. We got to have another move right here, all right? Let's do it. So even if you get it down your hip and he's trailing, boom, up there, layup. At your height, you got to be crafty. At this height, you got to be crafty. You know, these drills have been around for years, and, you know, it's been so many pioneers who's contributed to the game in such a way that I can't even take all of the credit for it. So I think it's a combination of me being a student of the game, picking up little tidbits from some of the pro guys, you know, Tim Grover. You know, I watch a lot of clips on that guy. You know, Gannon. It's another great trainer. So, you know, I just try to mix it up. Put a little bit of my own flair in there. I try to tailor some of the offensive skills that our kids learn based upon the offense that they run and what's suited best for their game. That is the most fulfilling part of the work that I do. Is, man, when I can see a kid use that rip-through move that I showed them, or creating and taking space, what we call going grain to grain. When I see a kid really doing that stuff, I'm like, man, he just looks so much landslides better than the opponents that he's playing against. Everybody can, at some point in time, can make an open shot. You know, you also have some guys that are just physically, just better than guys physically. But I think once you go to the next level, everybody's that good. Everybody's physical. You know, everybody has that ability that you possessed in high school. What sets you apart? And I think that's what you will learn at Phlite Skool. And I think Patrick Miller is clearly the example. You know, he's the freshman of the year in the OVC. That's huge. He came from this program. You know, so all the guys that they chose over him said was better than him. Those guys are not even playing now. And so that's just a testament to the work that we put in all summer. You know, we get a lot of athletes that come to the Southside YMCA, you know, just to kind of get some open run in, and usually I'm working out a kid. And it's something that they see, and what I'm doing with some of the kids that I work with, that they say, hey, man, I want to be a part of that, man. Who is this guy? Man, can I work out with you? And that's kind of how my reputation has grown. I mean, if you look around the gym, you know, I got an audience of young kids in the 7th grade just watching and just seeing what this package is all about. And so that's really how I build my brand across the city. I take the time to build relationship with these kids beyond the scope of basketball, and I think that's so important. I'm most self-rewarded when I get a chance to take a kid who may not understood certain concepts of the game and like make their thinking evolve about this game of basketball. And so I think that's, for me, that's what separates us from any other program, is our ability to manage relationships. I got people who I work with who are recommending other folks to me. And that's just me building up my currency with these folks. And so I think that's the biggest difference. And I think I teach the game differently because I was a player. Like, I'm looking at it strictly from an analytical standpoint. I'm always assessing angles. How can we take space? You know, because the game, believe it or not, it's not that much space in the game. You know, you got to be really, really crafty with the basketball in limited amounts of space. And I don't think a lot of people teach the game in that way.
It's fall time. How y'all feel out there?